Wow, Lily, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. How are we feeling on the last Sunday of March? It's already happening. Yeah, fast. I am welcoming you and everybody on Zoom. And I'm Debbie Skirto, and I'm on the board here at Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I want to first speak to you about last Sunday when we had our meeting and letting everybody know, if they didn't get to read the community connections yet, that we had an overwhelming majority voting for the first choice, which was to lease our classrooms and not sell any land at this time. Things can change, but we'll keep you posted. And we were also able to amend and add to the bylaws. So it was a very successful meeting, and we thank everybody for being here and doing their very best to vote from far away using Zoom. So it was very successful. Today is the due date for your Calipayan sponsorships. So if you're still waiting to help one of the kids in the Philippines go to school and you want to get your money over to them, it needs to be here today. It needs to be in today. And also today on the patio, the Justice team is holding what they're calling a roundabout, patio roundabout, and it's going to have the theme of resistance and resilience, ideas for action and endurance. So it's like an open forum to talk and give ideas and see what people are willing to do for as far as activities to help in all those ways. Also, on April 5th is the work party. You can see a lot of these things here. And on the 6th, next Sunday, we're having a special recital concert. And our friend, and I'm going to mess this up, I know her first name is Anna, and I didn't put her second name. Oh, I'm sorry? Stafford, that's it. Okay, Anna Stafford, thank you. And she's a very well-accomplished pianist, and she is going to do some beautiful works for us. It is a fundraiser. We will have a kind of a little shorter community time outside with coffee and visiting and welcoming people. And then at 12, we're going to ask everybody to come inside and be our audience. And at some point, we will be passing a basket for like a goodwill offering. So there are going to be yummies. There will be some appetizers at intermission. And you'll also have the opportunity, if you so desire, to purchase a glass of champagne, or I think we're going to have beer and near beer. And that will be a suggested donation of $5 at intermission. So it's kind of a fun time. And the goodwill offering is up to you, whatever you choose to put in the basket. And then, of course, don't forget about April 12th. We're going to have a wonderful auction here, and if you've not returned your forms yet, please get them in before. You can email them to me, or you can give them to the church on Thursday or Friday, but by Sunday, we really need those because I have to complete them all, type them up, and Lynn Maria's doing displays, and we're wanting to have everything organized nicely for you. So that's next week too, busy week. And right now, you're in for a lovely time. I have the Pettit ladies, Betsy and Becky, who are going to come up and tell you a little bit more. Good morning again. Okay, everybody, you know about the auction. And by the way, for those of you that I saw last Sunday who signed up but weren't able to pay last Sunday, please see Murray or Megan or Debbie or, yeah, one of those three, if you have payment today. Anyway, say, Becky, what do gingerbread men use to make their beds?
I think that would be cookie sheets.
Oh.
What
was the other phone? Where is it? Becky, how do you spot a radical baker?
They're always going against the grain.
And finally, how do you know that someone is meant to be a baker?
They've got great buns.
So, I've got a bunch of the baked goods forms. We really need more of those. We're pushing for it. We've got just a couple so far. And we'll be happy to lend you one of our baker's hats if you need it to
Put you in the spirit.
put you in the spirit and get out that flour and butter and sugar and whatever
your cookie
else.
sheets.
And your cookie sheet. Absolutely. Get baking.
Go
all
against
right?
the grain and bake something great for our
And
auction.
radical.
Yeah, and radical. I'm going to introduce Echo Henderson to discuss the pledge drive.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So just a quick update on the pledge drive. If anyone has not received their pledge card, can you raise your hand and Carissa will hand you one? And also, there are some extra ones back there on the table with the balloons. So our pledge drive does go through the end of April. Our last day will be April 27th. And we do appreciate everything that everyone, so sorry, that everyone is doing for the pledge. We do have some gifts for you guys on the back table back there. And then also don't forget to fill out your wish list that we can create, like a collage board that we're gonna hang up later. So make sure you fill out your wish cards. They are on the back table also. And then there's a little spot where you can put them in. And then also for everyone who pledges, please don't forget to get your buttons that says I pledged. My sister and I made them, so I'm really proud of them. So don't forget to grab one after you guys make your pledge today. And if you already pledged and you didn't grab a button, please grab one and put it on. I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Warm greetings to everyone and those joining us on Zoom and those who are watching the recording too. Welcome on this morning that is filled with the magic of a solar eclipse and the new moon that made that possible. This new moon also signals the end of Ramadan, or Eid al-Fitr. We send our regards and prayers for peace for our Muslim friends who celebrate. The enchantment of the dark moon is still resonating and will no doubt also continue into tomorrow for International Transgender Day of Visibility. It's a celebration recognizing the diversity of gender identities and experiences. And as our tradition has been, we open our service each week by a sounding of the bowl for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. To open our time of restoration and wonder, we ring our bowl 3 times with intention, reverence, and compassion. We call to those who came before, who walk in the ways of healing and good, the ancestors of this land, the ancestors of our faith, and especially this congregation, and the ancestors of our hearts. We pause to acknowledge and honor the Tongva and other native peoples on whose ancestral homelands we gather. And as we become present in this now moment, we celebrate the diverse communities who make their home here today. And we ask ourselves, our wisest and deepest selves, to show up here and now and to keep us open and aligned with the Unitarian Universalist values that nourish us toward growth, service, and love. We also honor the future beings, those who will come. May we work to co-create a sustainable congregation that grows and serves in a world that is healthy and safe for all beings. And together we welcome this time together as a gift, and we hold ourselves and each other in this sanctuary of our heart, ready to unwrap its magic. And so we offer our gratitude, saying 3 times, thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful, thank you. As a symbol of our faith, we light a chalice at each of our gatherings to represent the values and rich history of Unitarian Universalism that offers us belonging and holds us in community. I invite Debbie Simpson to come forward and light our chalices this morning. Thank you, Debbie. We light a second chalice today as our expression of empathy, compassion, and solidarity with the First Unitarian Universalist Society of San Francisco. They are also enduring legal and financial difficulties very similar to our own. Let's hear these words first shared at our Spiritual Life team meeting on Wednesday. As we light our chalice this morning, we turn our hearts to the spiritual life of our beloved congregation. We have inherited this spiritual home from more than 7 decades of people who believed in the passion of human beings to bear love into the world. We carry the tradition of our faith, and we do this work for those who find comfort, inspiration, and joy within our Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation in both real and virtual spaces. We give rise to this flame with the intention that it will add sparkle to both our imagination and our hope for the good work of our next hour together. So let's stand and sing out our invocation, our anthem, Spirit of Life, first in English and then Spanish. Then we'll read our covenant. Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal faith, and the covenant that we enter into with each other each week reads as it's about to follow. It'll be up there. Come on, Jaryus. We know you've got it there. There we go. Let's read this together. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to make choices for a healthier planet, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. Please be seated and enjoy our wisdom tale coming to us from our Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration, Robert Tidwell.
Good morning, everybody. Today's wisdom tale is Trans Joy by Jess Martinez Hunt. Our story begins with a quote by maybe Burke. "You are who you are. No one can tell you who you are but you. Whoever you know yourself to be, you are right." I didn't grow up with trans joy. I grew up with longing, quiet adjustments, and learning how to make myself acceptable. I spent years thinking I was broken, desperately trying to fit into something that was never meant for me. I thought that was just life, fighting for every inch of belonging. Then my daughter, Atticus, came into the world, whole and bright and unabashedly herself, an embodiment of absolute joy, proudly declaring, "I, Atticus," when asked if she was a girl or a boy. She knew who she was and refused to let anyone tell her otherwise. For a while, I let myself hope that she wouldn't have to learn the same survival skills I did. Maybe she could just be. My daughter deserves a world where she isn't forced to fight so hard to exist. One where her joy is expected, nurtured, and uplifted. A world where trans joy is a certainty. Trans joy is sacred, a radiant and unshakable force that refuses to be diminished. A testament for resilience, authenticity, and love. It is communal, a light passed from one to another, illuminating the path toward liberation where we can simply be. Holy in its honesty and wholeness, it offers a glimpse of our world as it should be, not small, not an afterthought, not a reward for enduring suffering. Trans joy is life itself, bold, expansive proof that we are real, that we belong, that we have always been enough. That world doesn't exist yet, not the way it should. Until it does, I make sure that Atticus never doubts her worth. I'll show her that trans joy isn't just possible, it's powerful. It's bigger than the struggle, louder than the hate, and more enduring than the fear. I'll make sure she faces a future where she isn't just fighting to exist, but living fully, freely, and without apology. In a world that so often seeks to erase, silence, or diminish trans lives, our joy is more than resistance. It is a defiant declaration, an absolute refusal to shrink, a spirited promise that trans folks won't just survive, we will thrive. May we create a world where trans joy is abundant, expected, and celebrated, where trans kids, adults, and elders thrive in the fullness of who they are. Let this be our guide, our resistance, and our sacred promise to one another. And before you sing us out to our classrooms, I want to say, I'm going to sneak in a little commercial here. We have a couple adult RE classes coming up that talk further about trans issues. One is going to be a discussion group around the UU Common Read, which is a book published by the UUA. It's called Authentic Selves, and it's a series of interviews with transgender Unitarian Universalists. And so that's going to be coming up towards the end of April. And then after that, we're going to have some discussions around an online curriculum called Transforming Congregations, which is a class that will help us be more open and welcoming to transgender individuals. So with that information, now you guys, the kids can come up and get our cellos, and you guys can sing us to class.
Beautiful. For the beauty of the choir. I think that's a new one. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Lily. Yeah. We take great pride in our identity as a spiritual community whose mission calls us to service, justice, spiritual growth, education, and fellowship. We are committed to be a people to whom good stewardship matters, here at home and in the world. And one way that we live out that mission is to share half of our offerings that are not designated as pledges with an organization that aligns with our mission and our values. For the months of February and March, which concludes with today's service, we have been sharing our plate with the UU Justice Ministry of California, also known as UUJMCA. I invite those in the sanctuary now to come forward with your generous offerings or any donations that you wish to offer to the Beta Center Food Bank at Inland Valley Hope Partners. And it is with much gratitude that our generous offerings will now be given and received. Thank you, Lily. Beautiful. Another way that we live out our relationship as a congregation is to share the things that are weighing on our hearts and the things we're really celebrating in our lives. I have 3 that were in the basket. For any who are visiting, we do have a basket in the back where you can leave your prayer requests. Let me read through these. This first one comes from Paula Campbell, and it's a sad thing, very sad. She writes that she lovingly had to make the decision to let her friend, her pup, right? Oh, you just showed me the picture. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. Let her find peace this week. Melissa French is now reunited with her twin sister, Melanie. I like this, that she put at the end, get an advance directive. You can write your own, but please have your advance directives decided and written if you need one. It makes tough decisions easier. Yeah, Paula, sorry. I'm not sure who this is from. From Lily and the choir. Okay. Welcome to Debbie Simpson to the choir. Yeah. Yay, Debbie Simpson. And this comes from Maribel Dana. She says, huge joy to have my sister Vicki here from Minneapolis. She's here for my daughter Ashleen's baby shower. Can't wait till you're a grandma. She said it's joyful to see all childhood and adult friends, plus 2 other Monte Vista girls, Erin Monk and Devin Oberhofer, who she grew up with. Yeah. Yeah. Also, we honor and hold in our hearts those who are struggling after the 7.7 earthquake in Myanmar on Thursday. It was about 11 p.m. Thursday here. I didn't check this morning to see what, how many had died, but I did see that my friend and colleague, Reverend Julia Hamilton, she's the minister at the Unitarian Society of Santa Barbara. She wrote a beautiful poem that I would like to share with you in honor of this. Anyone who lives where the earth can slip understands the gravity of the situation. When buildings tumble onto soft bodies and sacred stones unstack themselves, The city shivers, in what was solid becomes dust and memory, house, tower, temple. And what was liquid spills where it shouldn't. Blood, water, tea. The shaking starts unseen, underground, and ends months later in the shoulders of the monk crying over his lost friend. Next year, a woman will trip on a stone and remember, that used to be the lintel on my door. Please join me in a spirit of prayer. We'll have some meditation and then we'll go into our gentle song. It's called A Gentle Reminder. It was written by Bianca Sparacino. For the days you feel light and nearly invisible in this world, and for the days in which the sun rises a little slower, a gentle reminder for when your heart is full of hope and for when you are learning how to heal it. A gentle reminder for when you finally begin to trust in the goodness and for when you need the kind of words that hug your broken pieces back together. A gentle reminder for when growth hangs heavy in the air and for when you need to tuck your strength into your bones just to make it to tomorrow. A gentle reminder for when you are balancing the messiness and the beauty of what it means to be human. When you're teaching yourself that it's okay to be both happy and sad, and that you're real, but not perfect. A gentle reminder for when you seek the words you needed when you were younger. A gentle reminder for when you need to hear that you deserve to be loved the way that you love others. A gentle reminder for when you need to believe in staying soft and continuing to be the kind of person who cares. A gentle reminder for when you need to believe in loving deeply in a world that fails to do so. A gentle reminder to keep going. A gentle reminder to hope. A gentle reminder, take what you need. Thank you. Our reading today is titled Relationship, and it comes from a new ancient book. How many of us, let's do a show of hands, how many of us have read The Prophet by Khalil Gibran? There is a new version written by one of our favorite poets, Chilan Harkin. She did a wonderful job on rewriting. It's called The Prophetess. Prophetess. The Return of the Prophet from the Voice of the Divine Feminine. And Karen Lane will be reading one of the entries from that book called Relationship. Thanks, Karen.
Thank you. Speak to us of relationship, and the prophetess spoke. We are here to bring forth our light and hold the candles of ourselves to each other. If we're honest, most don't want an aloof, abstract spirituality that lives in the stars. What most long for is a path that endows us with ever deeper resources to be strong and compassionate enough to stay in relationship with the vulnerabilities, complexes, difficulties, and great beauties within the human heart. And few of us are motivated by God or goodness or growth for their own sake. Mostly, We are seeking the reassurance of our worthiness to enter the irresistible crucible of the holy wreckage of human relationship. Relationship is love's servant. In devotion to the light, relationship builds the lamp. Love is the energy, the electricity. Relationship is that which catalyzes its light into the world. We need each other. End of story. And there's no shame in this. It is beautiful. It is a necessity. It is a truth. The difference between codependent need and healthy need is that codependent need enables each other's hiding. Healthy need recognizes that we need each other for our full emergence. Kiss all of those emissaries of the Nameless One, those in your life who bring you to your knees and lead you back to yourself. Each deep love, especially with a primary partner, activates the lack and the longing from our past. If we use the gift of this invitation to resolve our lack, we have the possibility of realizing, of bringing to life the fruits of our longing. It is a deep resignation to become tired of each other. Darling, there are universes inside each other ever being born. Too often, relationship becomes a form of protest, a form of resistance, or a demand around something unresolved or unreceived from our past. Do all you can to creatively boycott this. Stage a sit-in in your own heart to see what needs to be done to restore yourself to your natural condition of love's plenty. Know that any competition is not but pain sparring against pain, which only adds to itself. And conflict, even when well disguised as the noble defense of truth, is not but scarcity's perpetuation. The seeming oneness that goes to war for itself still wields separation's weapon. To love is not to cunningly win, nor is it to leverage any advantage of self-perpetuation over the other. Within love is a seed and a wrecking ball. The seed blossoms into suns, and the wrecking ball destroys old worlds. From it, a new self emerges. Let your relationship be one that relieves you of your well-packaged cleverness. Tell your beloved you have a million wounds you won't use against them. May your heart's prayer to its beloved be this: that as you go from me, as you one day inevitably will, and as I go from you, let us go in the grace of love's completion that never held back anything of itself.
I think we need to get chairs that have tissues. Thank you. You are a blessing. We had a good laugh together last Sunday as I opened my sermon about the importance of our pledge campaign by proposing that a good title for my message might be The Sermon on the Mount. But this week, let's pick up there where the Christian scriptures offer us the words of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. in the book of Matthew 7, verse 24, where we read, "Everyone then who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rains fell, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall because it had been founded on rock." The Hebrew word sur, T-S-U-R, translates to English as rock or stone, and is used to describe Elohim, which is a plural word used to describe the divine, as a source of strength and stability. Sur appears in various contexts throughout the Hebrew scriptures, including Exodus 17, Deuteronomy 8, and in Psalm 28. Like the Greek word Petra, which is the root of the disciple Peter's name, Sur denotes that a rock is massive, solid, and foundational, and a good place to begin the foundation of our message today. I had a short, always too short, but also very comforting conversation with our friend Michael Esselin this week. We're catching up on some of the events in each of our lives and sharing our sense of wonder, fear, and frustration with the state of our world. And we groaned together, hoping that soon things are going to stop getting worse. And to help us find a bit of perspective here, our conversation was just a few hours before Thursday's earthquake in Southeast Asia. So we are all held upright by the ways that we watch over one another, similar to the ways Michael and I supported one another in that short little check-in. Our relationships are the foundational rock that steadies us today. We know that every day is not going to end up as a good day, but we live making our lives work for good anyway. And we know that not everyone tells us the truth, but we hold ourselves and each other accountable to be honest anyway. And we know that we are not always loved back in the ways that we'd hope by those that we offer love to, but we keep living from that place of love anyway. We know life appears to be so unfair right now, with so many aspects of our culture falling apart before our eyes, it seems. Ways of life that we've worked hard to build together, and traditions where we have all found our belonging, our pride, and our identity for so long seem to be vanishing, and yet we rebuild anyway on rock. We rebuild on rock each time when we come together on a Sunday morning to give and to receive. We get that boost of connection and the grounding that we need in order to restore what has crumbled for us during the week and to amplify our potential to make a difference for someone else. We have that lodestar of justice in us, guiding us to our deepest heart, where we find an uncompromising stance that will not quit, no matter what. We stay on the search for truth that we covenant to name as our constant star, and we are moved by our offerings of service to all sentient beings. That is our prayer. We rebuild on rock for the foundation that we need for our grounding in truth, and for reaching into the confidence that comes from knowing that together we are braver, stronger, and more determined, so that soon we will have a clearer vision for what's ahead. Rock bottom will be a place for us as a place of safe landing, not as an indication of impending doom. Jaryus, do you have that little image? Wondering when things will stop getting worse will motivate us and not terrify us. So don't worry, kitty. After being at rock bottom a few times, we have learned that it can be an ever-changing location, and it is not quite as scary there as it may have been in the past. We're becoming comfortable enough at rock bottom, and it's different for each of us. We don't have a communal rock bottom that we've hit, but we're better able to hold our center and remember who we are and to stand in our identity as Unitarian Universalists and begin to find meaning. And no, we're not afraid. We might actually be ready to imagine a better way forward as we begin to put the pieces in place to make that happen. We take steps to not only stay as strong as our predecessors, but to strengthen even more, knowing that life will probably become even more difficult in the days ahead. And rock bottom will take a bit more navigating if we intend to stay able to stay comfortable there. But I'm reminded of the writing of Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl in his 1946 book titled Man's Search for Meaning. He said, "A man who becomes conscious of the responsibility to an unfinished work will never be able to throw away his life. He knows the why for his existence, and he will be able to bear almost any how." Frankl is also quoted for saying that everything can be taken for a man but one thing, and it is the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any set of circumstances. And I will be the first to raise my hand and admit that keeping my attitude centered on love is not always easy, and it's often not my first choice. And if I don't admit to that, George will snitch on me. Going off script a little bit, we went to dinner on Friday night in Pasadena to El Portal. I don't know if anyone else likes to eat there. But as we were crossing on, I think it's El Molino, on the bridge, it was filled with people who support the current president. So there was something that happened to my hand as we were going by. I wasn't driving. And I was just kind of moving my hair like this in the window. But I know that wasn't right, but boy, did it feel right. And I do reach there, knowing that if I'm to serve and I'm to care for my soul's purpose, and I'm to rebuild at rock bottom myself and hold love at my center, there are so many yeah buts, reasons to stay angry and hateful. And the justification for expressing our erupting energies feels so good. We growl and we push the mute button as hard as we can, and we use that familiar gesture of Greek and Roman origin to express our offense or our anger. But can we instead help one another be better examples of love-centered lives? That is what our faith calls us to, and that's what the world truly lacks. Do you see it anywhere? Author James Redfield is most often credited with teaching that where our attention goes, energy flows. And where our intention goes, energy flows. So the best focus of our attention and the best direction for our intentions, the best flow of our energy is not toward anger, but it is to increase the flow of love in the world. Please don't minimize what I'm saying or call these words wishy-washy. This isn't the same call for love that we've heard before in the 60s or in any other decade. Our call to center love in our lives isn't like anything that we've been asked to step into in the past. It's harder now. It's needed more, and it's asking more than it ever has before because it is so much darker out there now. More often than not, in the beginning of spring, we hear about emergence, the pushing up through the dark, the soil, and the blossoming, the renewal of fresh, fragrant energy filled with the blaring light of day. But you know me, and I prefer to praise your courageous explorations of that dark. It is our learning in the darkest times of our lives, like this moment, that will strengthen us for the times to come. Author, academic, and Episcopal priest Barbara Brown Taylor writes, "I have learned things in the dark that I could never have learned in the light, things that have saved my life over and over again, so that there is really only one logical conclusion. I need darkness as much as I need light." Indeed, I am in awe of the faith required by those tiny seeds of love within us, buried deep in the dark, cold places of heart. That faintest whisper of solid, bone-deep knowing without any evidence or proof that there really is a better option and a better way for this world. And we are moving toward being able to touch that better way and offer it to help heal in this time of trauma and transition. As we find our way through, we can see that we aren't that much different from those tiny shoots now coming to life in the dark earth. We are those shoots who finally are catching our first glimpses of what's possible without any concern that we are now also our most vulnerable. We are tender with exhaustion and disbelief. We brave ourselves out into the open, offering the love that is needed to go in the right direction. Like underground seeds of spring, we have to care gently for our souls while finding ways to keep moving and staying together in a sustainable community. We remember there is a natural partnership between emergence into change and resistance that is required. And we're ready, and we're not. We can rebuild when things are holding us back. And as we step into the capacities of our next becoming, we must do two things. The first is to come into a clearer perception of the healing, centering love that is growing within us and becoming our identity. And the other is to meet, name, and respect all of our darkened resistance to growth that feels as if it is asking too much of us right now. We can slow down. We can slow things down in this time of panicked responses. And at first, we must ground ourselves in that centering love that we are asking to be giving out. The centering love that we're being asked to become. Let's do that. Let's sit in it for a while. Let it take care of us. Let it go into our bones, into our marrow. I know I need it before I can give it away. So let's do that. Let's build on that rock bottom. And let's be that love that we want to see. Thank you. Let's sing. Let's sing Blue Boat Home. That always feels good. Beautiful. Thanks, everybody. Let's say our unison benediction. I'll extinguish the chalices, Debbie, you don't have to. As we close our time together. Please be seated. Let's enjoy the postlude. Thanks. And my closing words for you today are inspired by Blessings. Blessings Shall Follow Us by Rebecca Savage. As we end our time together today in spiritual community, may we depart this sacred space knowing that the blessings shall follow us all the days of our lives. May our lives radiate those blessings that we've been given. May kindness and compassion fall gently from us. May there be peace in this world, and may it begin with us. Blessed be.